This video provides a brief summary of the movie inspired by a true story from 1960. The Lake Bodom murders are a famous unsolved case where 3 teenage campers were killed and another was badly hurt in Finland. This case is one of the most infamous crimes in recent Finnish history. On June 5, 1960, between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m., at Lake Bodom in Espoo, Uusimaa, Mila Ermeli Björklund and Anja Tilikimäki, both 15, along with 18-year-old Seppo Bauman, were attacked while they slept in a tent. They suffered from stabbings and blunt force injuries to their heads. The fourth camper, Nils Gustafsson, also 18 at the time, was found outside the tent with serious facial injuries and stab wounds. Despite thorough investigations, the killer was never caught, and many theories about who it might be have emerged over the years. In 2004, Gustafsson was unexpectedly arrested as a suspect, but he was declared not guilty the next year. An unexpected twist occurs in the movie. If you can figure it out before I reveal it, leave a comment below. Let's dig in. The movie then jumps ahead. We meet 2 friends, one named Elias. His friend shares that he often visits crime scenes, places where tragic events have occurred. He is particularly interested in drownings. He shows Elias pictures of the girls from years ago, explaining that they were found at Lake Bodom. He suggests they go there to investigate, believing the killer might still be nearby and they could uncover the reason behind the murders. Elias, unable to say no to his friend, agrees to go. There is a girl named Ida, who is having a meal with her family. They all look quite somber. Suddenly, Ida's father becomes upset with her because someone shared an unflattering photo of her online, causing distress for the family. Nora, who is Ida's friend, visits her and encourages her to move on from the past. She mentions that she is also going to Lake Bodom with the others and invites Ida to join them for a fun time. Ida agrees. Upon arrival, they find the path blocked by a chain. After the girls' murder, the police had restricted access to the lake. However, Elias decides to break the chain, and they proceed. They reach the lake and begin to set up their tent. In the middle of the night, Ida and Elias's friend were chatting. He was telling Ida about the murder of 2 girls that happened nearby, and she mentioned she had heard about it too. Soon, their other 2 friends joined them. Elias's friend shared that he had researched the murderer and believed that the killer felt a strong connection to this place, treating it like home. Just as we don't want strangers in our homes, the murderer doesn't want visitors here either. He watches newcomers closely, and when he sees a chance, he strikes, doing so mercifully to discourage anyone from returning. If he lives here, he must be watching us too. Ida decided to sleep in the tent, but then she noticed a flashlight shining from across the lake, aimed at them. Feeling uneasy, she mentioned it, but Elias's friend reassured her that there was no one there and suggested they go to sleep. Later that night, while the 4 of them were asleep, Ida sensed someone was there again and shared her feelings with her friend and Elias. Elias steps outside to check things out, but after a long wait with no sign of him, the other 3 start to feel anxious. They try calling him, but there's no response. Time passes, and just when they start to worry more, Elias suddenly appears and gives them a scare. Meanwhile, Nora needs to use the washroom, so she heads off alone, with Elias following to keep her safe. After she leaves, Ida and Elias's friend are chatting when a large log suddenly crashes onto their tent, startling them. He reassures Ida, saying it's probably just a prank by Elias trying to scare them. Hearing Ida believed that Elias was responsible for making her pictures go viral, which caused her a lot of trouble. This pushed Ida to seek revenge on Elias. When Elias' friend informed her that Elias and I were going to Lake Bodom, Ida planned to kill him with Nora. They intended to take revenge on Elias, but they were also concerned about who would deal with his friend's death. Nora then suggested they dispose of both bodies before dawn to avoid being accused of murder. She changed into a suit to avoid leaving fingerprints on the bodies. They placed the 2 bodies in a bag, threw them into the lake, and got into her car. Nora mentioned that the car keys were with Elias when they went to Lake Bodom, so they needed to retrieve them. Ida took off her suit and went into the water to find the keys. After getting them, they both drove away. As they traveled, Ida reflected on what Elias had said and shared her thoughts with Nora. Her friend dismissed it, insisting that Elias must have been lying and that she had seen Ida's picture. Ida still feels uncertain after hearing this. She questions why she, Elias, and Ulysses never received those pictures if they were real. Nora finally decides to reveal the truth. She admits that Elias was honest, no one took your picture, but she spread rumors about it everywhere. Ida is shocked and hurt because it came from her own friend. She asks why she did this, reminding her that they were friends. Nora explains that Ida was getting too close to Elias at school, and whenever they met, Ida only talked about him. This made her fear that Ida would become too close with Elias and leave her behind. To keep them apart, she planned to make Ida distant from Elias. At the party, she put something in Ida's drink to make her unconscious. After that, she spread the rumor about the picture, not realizing it would cause so much pain. Ida, now in tears, tells her friend that two innocent people, Elias, her friend, lost their lives because of her actions. She vows to go home and tell the police everything, including the truth about their deaths. Nora begs her not to do this, but Ida refuses to listen. In a fit of anger, Nora grabs a wrench from the car and strikes Ida in the face, causing her to bleed. Ida retaliates, and they begin to fight inside the car. During the struggle, her friend spots a car in the middle of the road. Nora is terrified and tries to comfort Ida. Meanwhile, the killer reaches the car. When he spots them inside, he attaches their car to his with a chain. He then drives away at high speed, pulling their car along. By this time, Ida has regained her senses. Both girls are frightened and think about how to escape. Nora suggests that Ida jump out of the back door first, and she will follow. Just as Ida is about to jump, their car crashes and flips over. They suffer serious injuries from the accident. The killer's car also comes to a stop, and he starts walking toward them again. Ida urges her friend to stay awake and cough, but her friend refuses to leave her side. Ida, in pain, tells her to run away and escape. After some hesitation, her friend finally agrees and starts running toward the temple. The killer notices her and sends his dog after her. We see the killer's face, revealing him to be the same man who had killed both girls. The rumors that Elias's friend heard about this forest and the killer were indeed true. The killer had been watching the four of them for a long time, planning to make them his victims. In the next scene, we find him sitting by the lake, having tied Ida and her friend to him. He had thrown their car into the water and kept them as captives. With his hands and feet bound and his face covered with a cloth, he sharpened his knife and began to approach them. He first grabbed Ida and threw her into a hidden spot filled with corpses. Then, he tortured and killed her friend but left Ida untouched. The next morning, it is revealed that the killer spared Ida's life, instead leaving her outside her home. His plan was to frame her for the murders of his friends. When the bodies were found, Ida was arrested for their deaths. She tried to tell everyone that she was innocent and that the Lake Woodup killer was responsible, but no one believed her. The real killer remained free while she was wrongfully accused. Later, we see a group of friends at the lake, ready to party. As always, the killer was watching, and this group became his next target. It's shocking to realize this was based on a true story, and the film concludes here.